What is up, everybody? Welcome to this week's episode of the Dense Pixel Podcast. I'm your host, Brad, joined by my co-host, Carrie.
What's up?
We may or may not catch a Micah at some point here. We'll see. If it does, then video viewers will get a little scrambled over for a few seconds until I fix it. Yeah, it's huge, enormous week. It's an enormous week. Games, enormous week news. Huge this week. I'm kind of glad the post office is calm waters. Because we have a lot of shit to talk about this week. Before we get right into it, though, a little bit of housekeeping. Don't forget, if you're not a member of our Discord, you can join up by going to densepixels.com/fans and chat with other listeners of the show and us. It's also where you can submit questions in a little segment we call Dense Pixels Post Office, which we do every week on the show. If you want to check out the show on YouTube, watch the podcast in video, which I find myself doing much more these days than just audio podcasts. You can go to youtube.com/densepixels and subscribe to us there. If you prefer podcast the old-fashioned way, just search for TNP Studios on the podcast app of your choice. You'll find us, as well as the Nerdpocalypse, Black and Black Cinema, and the Look Forward Political Podcast. And if you'd like to support Dense Pixels and TNP Studios with zeal, go to densepixels.com/premium. Just $5 a month to help support independent media. Also, a little bit of programming notes for everybody. We will be off next week. It is U.S. Thanksgiving next week, so we will be taking the week off. I would imagine Micah and Carrie might be traveling. And yeah, it's going to be...
I want to be staying here. I'm not traveling out east again until mid-December. I'm trying to avoid what I did last year, which was travel...
Just fly back and
just
forth
a little,
from one coast to the other.
Well, I flew back on December 20th, and that was the worst day I could have flown back. Shit was awful. I'm not doing that again. My parents will get me in early to mid-December, or they will not get me at all at this point.
So I have a couple new games to talk about. 2025 continues to be rude as shit, throwing potential top 10 list games at us here late in mid-November. One of which almost assuredly will be in my top 10, and that is Lumines Arise. They said it couldn't be done. They said we wouldn't get any more Lumines. They were wrong, and instead we got what is perhaps the best Lumines, just in terms of a complete and total package. For those that aren't familiar with Lumines, Lumines is a falling block puzzle game. Where you have these squares that are made up of 2x2 smaller squares. And basically each stage has a light color and a dark color, and the 2x2 is made up of some configuration of the light and dark colors, and you drop them into a well. And what you're trying to do is to make 2x2 squares in the well that are all the same color, and essentially that kind of cues them to be cleared from the board. And there's a timeline that sweeps across the board incessantly that clears squares off as they go. That's kind of the basic gameplay, and you just try to make as many squares as you can to make combos to get high scores and all that good stuff. The thing about Lumines is it's also a game that, since its inception, 20 years ago now, on the PSP, has been geared around music and visuals. Especially like electronic music, and having the stages as you go through them change the visuals to match not only the background but also the visuals of the blocks themselves, be it color and design and stuff like that. And that's kind of been the series hallmark. And Lumines Arise cranks that up to an absurd degree. Enhanced Studios is the same folks that made Tetris Effect quite a few years ago, which was basically what if Tetris, but what if Lumines also, as far as like the visual and audio design. And that was really effective, and I kind of assumed that's what we'd be getting more of here. And it turns out Tetris Effect looks like a proof of concept next to what I think the vision is fully realized. And that's because in Tetris, right, like, you can have all the, the cool visuals and music happening, but you still have to have, like, the Tetris field be Tetris, right? Like, you can't have it be, like, insanely crazy. Whereas with Lumines, because the visuals of the stages and the field, the playing field itself, are expected to change. They really went all out with this in a way that makes this game like I don't think I've ever played a puzzle game that feels kinetic in the way that this does. But there's so much motion and so many effects happening on the screen all the time. And there's, I think, like 35 stages in the game, all of which are uniquely designed, from, you know, the backgrounds to the way the pieces look to the music to the sound effects that the blocks make when you drop them into the well and rotate them and things like that. And it's just a feast for the eyes in a way that Lumines games have not been previously, because there's so much like animation on the pieces, and like when you form the pieces into the 2x2 blocks, like they actually will change like the visual effect of them. Some stages will, there's this one stage that sticks out in my mind where the blocks are made up of like red and green vegetables, right? Like it starts off as like apples and limes, and then it moves to like tomato and lettuce and stuff like that. But as you clear the blocks, like the vegetables that it makes like get chopped in half and like fly, you know, kind of at the screen at you with that effect. Or there's a stage that has a lot of different like that's made up of different globes and stuff like that, and when you clear those blocks, that like they'll fall out of the stage into like the foreground of the stage, essentially just kind of be chilling at the bottom like just in the foreground of the static screen, and things like that. So that's really phenomenal, especially so if you have VR, which I experienced with this for the first time today, and that was something else as well. Like that just kind of takes the effect and notches it up a little bit. But the gameplay is still just like pretty basic Lumines. But the thing that I appreciate is they have a lot of different extras around this one as well. It has probably the best set of like missions that the game has ever had. Lumines has always usually had like a mission mode which you have to accomplish certain things in a time limit or something. But the thing that I appreciate with this one is that the mission mode in this one does a really good job of teaching you how to play the game better than any of the other versions ever have. Because that's probably the biggest complaint that I've heard from people who don't get into Lumines, is they're like, well, it's too confusing, like I can't wrap my mind around it. And it kind of teaches you like the different ways to align the blocks in order to get your combos off and stuff like that. The game also has a lot of various like challenge modes as well, which other games in the series have been lacking in the past. And I love the little challenge modes because it just kind of forces you to play the game in a different way, and again in a limited time period, to rack up like a high score. And that always feels great when you can, you know, nail S ranks on things and and kind of show those off. They have online play. The battle mode I can take or leave. It's fine. I've never particularly enjoyed Battle Lumines. This one has it where when you complete squares, it'll send garbage blocks to your opponents, which will start at the edges of their board and then kind of move in, narrowing their play field. And the only way to clear them is to, you know, clear other squares next to them, and they'll disappear. So again, it's fine. That's not why I'm playing Lumines. And so, yeah, this is a really just phenomenal game. It comes in correctly priced. I think it was $40, if I'm not mistaken, which, you know, given the level of polish on this game is really excellent. And the kind of the new gimmick with this one too is it has this new mechanic called burst. They had something similar in Tetris Effect. I don't remember what it was called in that game, but when you basically, as you clear squares, you'll build up this meter, and once it reaches 100%, you can activate burst mode. And what that does is it essentially encourages you to make like a mega square of one color. And as you create more squares in the field of that color, pieces of the other color will actually like fly up off of the playfield and kind of
Mm-hmm.
be stored in queue. And so you have a couple timeline sweeps to do it, usually like 5 or 6, and then it clears like this mega block that you made that could be consist of like up to like 125 squares if you're really good. And then after that clears, all of the other blocks that were like that flew up off the board will come falling down, which will also be of one color. So you'll probably get like a really good combo off of that. It's interesting because it like using it kind of requires some skill. You kind of have to have a good sense of the field. You have to see what's on deck to make sure that the color that you're trying to specialize in is going to come at you where you can build quickly. And so that part is pretty nifty, and it can also be used as a really good defensive mechanism in the multiplayer mode. But yeah, this is again, I was expecting something on the level of Tetris Effect with this, and so far it has exceeded those expectations for me, and it just really it just really blows me away the level of like visual fidelity that's in the game, how everything is kind of synced together in the way that Lumines games kind of are, and it's just a really fun game to experience on top of just playing Lumines, which is always a good time as well. So yeah, I would definitely recommend this. If the visuals are like too much, because even me who doesn't mind this stuff, like there's some stages where it's just like, well, it's like this is a lot, like this is a little noisy. There is, I think there's settings that you can kind of tone that stuff down, so that it doesn't have all the additional like 3D effects and stuff like that, because that's where it kind of gets tricky. Like there's some stages where if you have more blocks on one side of the well, like the well will slightly like tilt towards that direction because it kind of like, so like that kind of stuff can be a little wonky. But I think you can kind of scale that stuff down. I don't know about color blindness. So if you're colorblind, you might want to look into the accessibility options before purchasing, because this is a game where if you have certain levels of color blindness, will be probably pretty tricky to play. So that's one thing I would throw out there. But for anyone else, if you played Lumines, it's a no-brainer. If you've been curious about the series, this is definitely a fantastic one to step in on. So
Nice.
yep. Why don't you tell me about Digimon before I talk about the other game?
Yeah, I'm finally getting back to playing Digimon Story Time Stranger, and I hit what felt like the midpoint of the main story, in so much that like shit went really sideways kind of all at once, and I got yeeted like 8 years through time again. So yeah, it's very good. I feel like in not just a season but a year that has been so crowded with quality games, it's tough for a game like Time Stranger to stand out, especially because it's attached to a larger franchise like Digimon, where people may have the impression that, oh, well, I haven't watched Digimon, so I'm not going to get anything out of this. And I've said it before on this show, you do not need to have seen a fucking minute of the Digimon anime franchise to enjoy what is just a really, really solid like monster collecting RPG. So I feel like this game is going tragically overlooked right now, because like it is very good, the story's great, the gameplay's great. There's some difficulty curves for sure. There's no big difficulty spikes, thankfully, but like some of the bosses can get pretty intense, and if you're not paying attention to like the turn order and stuff like that, like you're gonna get mollywopped pretty hard. So yeah, I think it's really good. I'm looking forward to playing more of it. I definitely got sidetracked with Legend ZA when that came out, just because, as I said, I think a couple weeks ago, it was easier to play Legend ZA when I was doing a lot of like cross country travel, because I was just taking my Switch 2 with me everywhere. So I was playing it in hotel rooms and on planes, and got it done much faster accordingly. But really, really hope people give this one a fair shake, just because like it's really good.
Mm-hmm.
So Definitely check it out if you're into a solid turn-based RPG. So,
Very good. The other new game that I've been playing quite a bit of over the weekend is the new game in the Anno series, Anno 117, Pax Romana. Anno has been around for quite some time. It's also, I always forget this, and it always surprises me whenever I boot the game up, that it's weirdly published by Ubisoft. Like, it's definitely a game that you would not expect Ubisoft to be publishing, because it's kind of a niche
yeah.
strategy management game. But they've been publishing it, I think, since this series inception many moons ago. And yeah, so Anno is a production chain management game where you basically have different settlements that you make in this, archipelago of islands, typically, that you are building up from nothing, and you essentially are, you build houses so workers will come, and those workers have needs, and you need to produce specific resources to fulfill those needs, and then once they're happy, you can take some of the workers and promote them to like the next class of citizen, essentially, and those citizens will then have more complex needs that you then need to fulfill, and you're playing the balancing act of maintaining your colony's finances to make sure that you have revenue coming in from the citizens, so that you can build all sorts of cool new things, and the other things that the Anno games do that is always fun is they add a little 4X flavor, because you have other governors that you're competing against, and there's some diplomacy options, there's some light warfare options where you have ships and armies that you can send to attack your opponents or use as defense and use for trade routes and things like that. So it's a really fun game, a really cool game to get lost into. 117 is the earliest chronological game in the series, and it takes place, as the name would suggest, during the Roman Empire, which is a period of history that, as the trope, as the meme goes, I think about a lot.
Brad, no.
Like I said, it's a fascinating era of history.
There are many eras of history. I just I mean, you're a white man. I don't know why I didn't see it coming that you would think about the Roman Empire.
I don't actually think about the Roman Empire all the time, but I have learned a lot about the Roman Empire over the course of my life. It is a source of interest for me. And what's funny about this game, so the Anno games always have a little campaign in them. And the campaign effectively acts as an extended tutorial to get you comfortable with all of the game's mechanics, with a little story on top. And the story is, in the Anno games, are always laughably bad. It's always got really bad dialogue and a silly premise and all sorts of stuff like that. In 117, they actually let you choose between a male or female governor character. It's a brother and sister team. And it's weirdly, it actually makes a huge difference which character you pick and how the story unfolds. And so I picked the woman, and the story in Anno 117 strangely compelling for an Anno game, because essentially what happens is you are sent, you are basically married off to this governor by your father, and as soon as you get to the region that the first part of the game takes place in, you're married to him in a ceremony, but he's not present for it because he's ailing, and so somehow you're able to be married despite that being the case. And it kind of starts to unwind this story of political intrigue, which is oddly fascinating. And apparently in the male character story, none of this shit happens. And so I was strangely compelled by the story. The biggest problem, though, is that after Act 2, it just kind of abruptly ends. In a really sudden and unsatisfying fashion. As it turns out, there apparently was a whole third act that was cut out of the game for I guess time constraints or for like to shift the game into polish mode, and they couldn't put the third act in, which is a fucking bummer because they actually had a story that was worth kind of exploring, and it just kind of ends with a gajillion loose ends, which is not the point of these games, but like that it just annoyed me that was the case. So I immediately started a new endless campaign, and so far that's been going really well. One of the interesting aspects to 117 Anno 117 is that in your campaign there's always a governor character or like an emperor character that you can either kind of go along to get along with or piss off and defy, and both paths will get you different bonuses and penalties essentially, so kind of you can kind of craft your gameplay around that, which is nifty. Also has a sprawling tech tree, which I think is new for the Anno series, but just a lot of different ways to improve your settlement and efficiency, and that's how you unlock some of the new buildings and stuff like that. And then they have a neat religion mechanic as well, where each of your islands can have a different like patron deity, and that deity will give you passive bonuses, depending on their theming. And not only is there Roman deities, but also the other thing the game has as well is that there's a second region that you can build in, which is Albion. So there's also a lot of like Celtic themed things in the game as well. So I've been enjoying it a lot. It is a massive, massive time suck. A campaign of Anno. I mean, there is no real end to the I mean, you can lose, but there's no real way to win. It's just whenever you feel like stopping, that's when you stop. But a full like campaign can easily take like 20 plus hours, especially for your first one. So like I'm a third of the way through, like what a regular campaign would be, and enjoying it a lot. I've dabbled in some of the other Anno games. 1800 I played a little bit of, and I decided not to like dive deep into it because I knew this one was coming and it was a little bit more interesting to me thematically. Also, you can build roads diagonally in this one, which is brand new to the Anno series, never been done before. But that makes a huge difference in being able to lay out your settlements in a much more natural seeming fashion, as opposed to just grids like square grids everywhere. So if you're looking for a game like this to kind of get sucked into, I would say Anno 117 is a good one. I will address a bit of controversy that came out where they got caught with a piece of like a single piece of AI art in the game that Ubisoft said, oh, that was a placeholder that was supposed to be removed before the game came out. And soured a lot of people on it, as you shouldn't be surprised. Again, just have a fucking thing that says placeholder on it. Like, you don't need to generate an image.
Like, placeholder art previously was just like something that was very obvious, like something completely off color from anything else going on in that scene, so that it was easy to spot when putting the final assets in the game. No one should be using generative AI for anything, much less placeholder.
Oh, hold your thoughts, because we actually
we'll get there
a little bit later in the news. Speaking of the news, no better time than the present to move into that. So let's start with the big news that came out this week. So there had been some rumor and innuendo that Valve was working on a new controller that had touchpads similar to the Steam Deck, and there's rumors that they were working on a new VR headset, and people always kind of assume that they might take another kick at the can at the Steam machine, like a small form desktop, or like really not even desktop, but just like a living room PC of sorts. Yep. And lo and behold, Valve announced all three things last week. So let's start with the controller, because that's probably the easiest one to talk about. So it's
a controller.
So it literally looks like they took the the controls of the Steam Deck and just grafted it onto its own thing.
Yeah, it's a pretty standard. I mean, besides the touchpads, it's a pretty standard looking controller in terms of the
Yeah.
shape and overall layout.
Yep.
Um,
It
I'm glad that they're
does
just calling it the Steam controller rather than
as
something stupid.
they should. And there's a couple upgrades in this over the Steam Deck controls. First of all, the joysticks in this are TMR joysticks, which is basically a newer technology than Hall Effect. They're magnetic joysticks, but they have lower power draw, and some enhanced fidelity, which is where a lot of the third party controller makers have shifted towards. So that's great to see. So that you won't have stick drift on these. The touchpads, just like with the Steam Deck, they are haptic, and I got to tell you, I fucking love the touchpads on the Steam Deck. Like they are fantastic and make it not just tolerable, but actually like pretty good to control mouse based things. On the Steam Deck. So, like I said, these being the same as those, is going to be fucking awesome. The controller also is going to include a 2.4 gigahertz dongle, which also can magnetically attach to the back of the controller to charge it as well. So that's a pretty cool piece of kit as well. It also can do Bluetooth and all sorts of things like that. So this one's a no-brainer for me. I'm definitely gonna pick this up when it drops, and it's kind of, to me, it's gonna be kind of the controller for others to beat. I feel, especially if it works just as well as the controls on the Steam Deck. Let's talk about the Steam Machine next. So
The rebirth of the Nintendo GameCube.
you mean the Gabe Cube, as many on the
The
internet
GameCube? Yes,
have taken to calling it? Yes,
the GameCube.
So this is interesting, right? So it's a small form factor PC, which has been gaining
Only 6x6x6. Yeah. So
that a lot of Chinese manufacturers have kind of been getting into the small form factor PC market a little bit. So it is interesting to see Valve take another stab at this. Now, the difference between this and when they originally did the Steam machines, a decade ago, that didn't really quite pan out, is the addition of Proton. So for those that don't know, Proton is basically a translation tool that Valve developed so that you can play x86 based Windows games on ARM processors. Now, ARM processors are the types of processors you typically find in mobile phones, because they typically are a lot more efficient and they run with a little bit less power draw than like Intel-based processors that you would find in a standard PC. And so that's what they've done here. Is there's an ARM processor inside of this, and it's running Proton. And again, coming from a Steam Deck, I can tell you that Proton works exactly like it should. Like it really just fucking works. So that games that you would normally be able to play on Windows are playable on these machines, no problem. It also is going to have it doesn't have like a system on a chip that you would normally find in these types of PCs. It does have a separate GPU and CPU, which is also pretty interesting. Couple folks are a little concerned that the GPU only has 8 gigs of VRAM compared to 16, which a lot of 40 series and up graphics cards have. So that it really, what that means is that the machine just isn't very future proof, I guess you could say, because the parts in this are not really replaceable. I think the only things you can upgrade are the storage and the RAM, if you want to. That's in there. And according to Valve, this thing is supposed to be 6 times more powerful than the Steam Deck currently is. They are intending it to be a 4K 60 box with frame generation. That's kind of and upscaling. That's kind of an important point. It's not going to run things natively.
And also,
60.
keeps cool, runs really quiet,
right.
So it's not going to be like a jet engine that you're bringing in the form of a 6-inch cube.
Yep.
But
it's going to have magnetic replaceable faceplate, which they'll sell custom faceplates, and they'll also put out the 3D files. So if you want to 3D print your own,
That's kind of
You
cool.
certainly can do that. And they're also saying that it's not like you can treat this like you would any PC. So like if you want to install Windows on it, go with God and do that. But by default, this will run Steam OS. It is intended to be a game machine first and foremost. So that's really cool. Yeah, this is a really compelling product for me, who doesn't need this at all. But just the fact that it's kind of out there is pretty cool. I think it comes with a Steam controller as well, which is also nifty. It does support up to 4 controllers, and apparently one of the other things that's also kind of slick about this is that it has a separate Bluetooth radio for each controller, so that it won't have as much like interference and things like that, which I think is also a pretty slick thing as well. So it seems cool.
Yeah. There's nothing here for me because I don't care for VR because I don't like wearing something on top of my glasses, and I'm too fucking nearsighted to be able to.
That's so that moves us on to the Steam Frame, which is probably the thing that I'm the most excited about. So
really,
yes. So Valve has kind of reintroduced their VR headset, and they are intending this to be complementary to what was I can't remember what the name of their old VR headset that came out before.
I don't know.
But this one is going to be a wireless. Like this is a VR headset that.
Oh, the Index.
The Index, yes, that's what it was.
Okay.
This is a VR headset that they're intending to be a streaming first VR headset, essentially. So like the kind of the key thing with this is that you have your VR games running on PC, you stream it wirelessly to the headset. It comes with a Wi-Fi 6 dongle that you plug into the PC so that it has a dedicated Wi-Fi stream from your computer to the headset. That's kind of the biggest challenge right now. So like you can use Steam Link and things like that on like the Meta Quest, but it's only as good as your Wi-Fi is. But having a dedicated channel should help that a lot. But even if you don't want to stream, the system also has basically like a Steam Deck on board so that you can just play games on the headset, including the rest of your Steam library, without any without any streaming or cables or anything like that whatsoever. Like you can either play VR games natively on this, or you can play your regular games just in a blown up like home theater style experience, similar to like how XR glasses would let you do that. This thing is taking direct aim at the Meta Quest, which has kind of gone unchallenged in this space for quite some time, and kind of the fact that it is giving me a option to play the few VR games that I do play streaming, which is nice because right now I don't like using Steam Link. So like if I want to play a Steam VR game, like I will hardwire my MetaQuest like headset into my PC, which isn't the most comfortable thing in the entire world. Plus, it also has full controller layout on the handles. So it has like the same Joy-Cons that the MetaQuest comes with, but whereas the MetaQuest only has 2 buttons, these are literally just like a regular controller split in 2. So it has the full 4-button layout on one side and the D-pad thumbstick layout on the other side, which is really nice. I like the dedicated Wi-Fi, and the most of all, I like that I don't need to have a Meta account in order to fucking use this thing, which is the biggest thing. The other thing that's kind of nifty about this is that between the Steam Deck and the Steam Frame and your Steam machine, if you want to, like you can, since they all run Steam OS, you can take the same like SD card if you have games installed on it and just like transfer it from one machine to the other, and it just works. Like everything is just kind of set up there, ready to go. Like I said, and the other thing that I heard is because they made the smart design choice of putting the battery for the headset on the back of it, like where the
Yeah.
headrest is, it
Mhm.
makes it super light because the weight is much more evenly distributed than you find
Because it's
on.
not all at the front of your
Right,
face.
right. So it feels much better. I'm very excited about all three of these products. Like I said, Valve has kind of made a convert out of me to some extent with the Steam Deck.
Mhm.
Like it was my entry point into PC gaming, and
Yeah.
it's a fantastic piece of hardware. And so if these are as good as that from a quality standpoint, these are going to be three excellent products. The big question here, of course, how much are they going to cost? We don't know
lot.
yet. Yeah. Well,
I'm gonna go
well,
with a lot.
well. Here's the thing. So when the Steam Deck came out, here's this, all-in-one Steam handheld, pretty good quality internals, all that jazz. It was $400
Mhm.
when the Steam Deck came out.
Mhm.
The controller I would say will be 80 to 100, like that seems pretty normal.
Yeah.
The Steam frame is interesting, right? So you can get a MetaQuest 3, which is what this thing is going up against from a spec standpoint. And I want to say the MetaQuest 3 is 580 right now. I think they had to go up because of tariffs.
Yeah.
And the MetaQuest, obviously you can play games on there. You can do Steam Link and stuff like that. It doesn't have like dedicated streaming. It doesn't have the way to easily play your Steam games, again, unless you use Steam Link in there. So my guess for this headset is probably going to be 600 if I had to guess.
Yeah.
If I had to guess, that's what I would peg this at. Now the Steam machine is interesting. So the internals on this are comparable to a launch PS5. If you're curious about how, like, apples to apples, it's a little bit beefier than the Series S
Yeah.
is even. So the thing is, like, with Valve, like, there's a whole range of prices I can see that would make sense. My prediction is 800. If it came out at 1,000, it wouldn't surprise me. And if it came out at 600, it wouldn't surprise me. but like 800 is kind
Yeah.
of where I'm predicting on that.
Yeah. That makes sense. So again, a lot.
Yeah, I mean, it is a lot, and but relative to PC, like PC gaming, like,
Sure.
you
I
know,
mean,
if
yeah,
the Steam machine comes
I
out,
will
it's
not
$800.
be
Like, that's going to be, like, for people that don't have a PC that are interested in getting into PC gaming, like, that's a
sure.
pretty good
For
entry
yeah.
point. So
Yeah. I will not be
um,
buying one.
these
I hope
these all
everybody
come
has
out next spring. So I guess we'll have more information by then, and hopefully a price soon as well. So
Yeah.
the Game Awards are right
Mhm.
around the corner, and the nominees were announced today. I've
Yep.
not seen these except for Game of the Year because that got leaked, and so I saw it on social media. So
Yep.
you'll get my live reactions. For Game of the Year, we have Clair Obscur Expedition 33, Death Stranding 2, Donkey Kong Bonanza, Hades 2, Hollow Knight Silk Song, and Kingdom Come Deliverance 2. Not a lot of surprises on here, I don't think.
No.
Maybe Kingdom Come sneaking on there.
I think Kingdom Come is kind of like your dark horse. A lot of people are saying Ghost of Yotei not getting a nomination is kind of a snub. So yeah.
I agree with that. I haven't played Ghost of Yotei, so I can't speak on it. But I mean, all of these games were easily, in my opinion, the most buzzed about games this year. So
Yeah.
I don't know if that's your qualification for Game of the Year. Some people thought Blueprints got snubbed.
A lot of people saying that, yeah.
I mean, but look, it's a tough year, tough year to come out with a
Tough
new
year.
indie game.
There's best art direction, Clair Obscur, Death Stranding 2, Yotei, Hades 2, Silk Song, audio design, Battlefield 6, which is always interesting to see a first person shooter land in audio design. Clair Obscur, Death Stranding, Yotei, Silent Hill F. Game direction is basically your nominees for Game of the Year, except you've got Yotei and Split Fiction in there. Multiplayer, Arc Raiders, which will be there's an interesting one as far as that game's director having a fucking meltdown about the
Wasn't that game?
nominees.
I don't think
Oh,
it
it
was that
wasn't
game's
his director
I think it was the president of the
of the
publisher.
company.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah, yeah.
yeah. Well, he shit his pants about it, and so I don't give a shit what happens to Arc Raiders. Battlefield 6, Night Rain Peak, and Split Fiction.
Mm-hmm.
Narrative, Clair Obscur, Death Stranding, Yote, Come, Silent Hill F. I am personally pulling for Silent Hill F just because I am such a fan of the guy who wrote that game, Ryukishi07. I have read all of Umineko, which is, for the record, longer than War and Peace. It is 1.2 million words long, and I read every single one of them. And Higurashi, and a bunch of other visual novels. So I really hope for just to get more people paying attention to what Ryukishi07 can do in the realm of horror. I really hope Silent Hill F wins that. Best performance, Jennifer English, Ben Starr, and Charlie Cox, all for Expedition 33. Erika Ishii for Ghost of Yote, Troy Baker for Indiana Jones, and Konatsu Kato for Silent Hill F. Best score and music, Clair Obscur, Death Stranding, Yote, Hades 2, Silksong. Obviously, I'm pulling for Hades 2 here. um, would love to see Darren get another award. Battlefield, Doom, Hades 2, Ninja Gaiden, and Shinobi Art of Vengeance for Best Action. It's always interesting to see like a first-person shooter like Doom or Battlefield up against like a side scroller like Shinobi Art of Vengeance and an isometric like a Hades 2, and just have them all kind of lumped into action.
Frankly, I'm surprised Doom got on here. Doom, I don't remember Doom being received all that well this year, but
I feel like it just kind of got overlooked in light of a lot of other things happening.
Yeah. And then action adventure, you got Death Stranding, Yote, Silksong, Indiana Jones, Split Fiction, family game, aka the Nintendo dumping ground category, Donkey Kong Bonanza, not a family game, but okay. Lego Party, Lego Voyagers, Mario Kart World, Sonic Racing, Cross World, Split Fiction.
Yeah, I kind of don't like seeing Bonanza lumped in as a family game.
That seems like seems like a consolation prize because it couldn't get into action adventure for whatever reason. So.
Yeah, I don't know what the qualifications are. Fighting game feels like the weakest genre category of the year because I don't think there was any good fighting games released this year.
The only new game on this list. Well, sorry, there's 2 new games on this list: 2XKO and Fatal Fury, and then everything else are collections or re-releases.
Yeah, Capcom Fighting. Yeah, really weak category this year.
Yeah.
It's almost like, why even bother? But I guess you have to. So Best Independent Game has a lot of people barking because it's got Absalom, Ball Pit, Blueprints, Hades 2, and Silksong, but then also Clair Obscur, Expedition 33.
Yeah.
And I can see the arguments both ways. I personally do not think that Clair Obscur should be considered an indie in the same way that Ball Pit or Blueprints are considered indie.
I understand why they're in here.
It's a AA game. Like, it's not really a true indie in my mind.
I mean, they have a publisher.
Yeah, they have a publisher. They had hundreds of contractors who were working on this game. There are people who will be like, oh, well, the dev team's only 12 people. It's like, and then the 100 of other people who they hired on a temporary basis. Like, I'm sorry, but like, you cannot put Clair Obscur next to Ball Pit or Blueprints and say that these are the same games, same type of games made with the same types of resources. Like, you can't, you're not going to be able to convince me of that.
Yeah.
So I for one do not think Clair Obscur should be in Best Independent Game, and it's also in Best Debut Indie Game as well.
Clair Obscur apparently set a record for nominations this year. There's never been more nominated,
and that's fine. I completely understand why it's being nominated left and right. It's a wonderful gaming experience, wonderful story. Absolutely. I fully expect it to win Game of the Year, and I think it will be deserved.
I am excited about Best Mobile Game only because I can't wait to see Jeff Keighley attempt to pronounce Uma Musume. Right. Which is going to win, by the way.
It will win. It will win. I have to resist the urge to download Uma Musume because I have so many friends who are so into it. And honestly, like, I am not immune to anime JPEG girls. I am not immune to them. I think they're really cute, and I look, I get it. I'm in on the idea, but like because I'm in on the idea, I cannot download this game because I will spend money on this game and I don't want to do that. So I refrain completely.
Let's jump around and more at some of these.
Yeah.
Uh,
RPG is interesting.
well, to me, it's hey, here's the winner, Claire Obscure, and 4 people that will be sacrificed at its feet.
Yeah. I feel like there could have been some better some better nominees than this. Like Time Stranger, for instance.
Yeah, poor Obsidian gets 2 nominations and nobody cares.
2 nominations, they will not win.
Best strategy game, I'm kind of happy that 2 Point Museum made the nomination list. I wasn't expecting that. 2 Point Museum is
in there.
Yeah.
I feel like it's either going to be that or Ivalice Chronicles.
I think it's going to be Final Fantasy
as your winner.
Yeah, I think it's Final Fantasy.
Best adaptation is an interesting one because they completely snubbed Sonic the Hedgehog 3, which would have released within the nomination window, but instead they nominated fucking Last of Us Season 2 and Until Dawn and Minecraft movie. So, I mean, look, I understand that Jeff Keighley exists to jack off certain franchises, and The Last of Us is definitely one of them. But yeah, I'm shocked that
debut indie, like you said, Claire Obscure being in here is weird. It's going to kind of tick me off if Blueprints doesn't win this because I feel like this is the one that it should win. Yeah. Megabonk, like I said, I liked Megabonk. Megabonk definitely had a moment for like a week there. I'm surprised that it was big enough to make it into this category. But I guess when the nominations were submitted, that was when Megabonk had its moment in time. What else we got down here?
You get the stupid esports categories. First, can we stop calling esports people athletes? They're not athletes. They're gamers.
They're athletes.
They're athlete, whatever. Like, but they're not athletes. Like,
I will say I'm impressed. I'm impressed with myself. I've heard of one person on the Content Creator of the Year nomination list.
I have heard of 2.
Okay. Yeah, Kai Cenat's the only one that I've heard of. Kai Cenat
and Moist Critical.
I've heard the name only because he was in he's one of the voices in Dispatch, so that's the only reason that I know that. Yeah. And then look, 007 First Light is not going to win most anticipated game.
It will not.
The most ridiculous award. Yeah, maybe Witcher 4. Maybe Witcher 4 for this group.
Let's be realistic. Let's be realistic.
Maybe. So yeah, Game Awards are on December something, December 11th.
Dumb as always. I will not watch. I will look forward to seeing the trailers after the fact and the performance. Hopefully, once again featuring Flute Guy.
I hope Flute Guy is.
I hope Flute Guy's back.
Oh, if they don't play the Zebra fucking Bonanza song, I'm gonna be very upset.
Oh my god! I mean, I don't know which one they're gonna play. I hope it's Zebra. Let's be real. It'll probably be the main theme.
It probably
will, be like the main Bonanza.
That's not the most memorable song though. So
I'll be curious to see what they choose as the Hades 2 theme. I'm figuring it will probably be one of the Scylla and the Siren songs. It will. I feel like there is a 98% chance that the Hades 2 song will either be I Am Gonna Claw Out Your Eyes and Drown You to Death or Coral Crown.
Well, I hope you guys enjoyed. I hope you guys enjoyed. The fun news this week is now we're into the bullshit section of the thing. So, so
it's not all bullshit.
It's not all bullshit. So Arc Raiders came out and is kind of taken the multiplayer world by storm. It seems like it might be the extraction shooter that kind of figured it out for the masses, right? Like it is what Marathon I think was hoping to be, but has been delayed and it's had a pretty big moment. And look, I've watched some people playing it. It looks really fun, especially with friends. But it did cause some controversy because one of the things that they talk about, or that Arc Raiders puts forward that it uses is generative AI for its voice acting. And
yeah,
specifically what they did is they hired voice actors under the requirement that those voice actors would allow their voice to be trained, to train this AI for use in this game, so that when they added things like new weapons and things like that later in the game, they could generate the speech in the game without needing to bring them back in to re-record lines, which is fucking weak sauce, but that's what they did.
Mm-hmm.
And they've been upfront about it, which, credit to them. A lot of studios, it seems like, have not been
upfront about
right.
it, as we will get to in a minute.
So Eurogamer, in their review, Rick Lane was the person who reviewed that for Eurogamer, and he enjoyed the game and talked a lot about it, but he also had a really I've read the review, and it was a really thorough explanation of his feelings and about why the Gen AI piece didn't sit well with him. And he specifically called out the fact that, like, here's a game whose theme is about, like, how dystopian and depressing it is that, robots have replaced, like, human beings, so that, like, to the point where humans have been driven underground, yet they're literally doing the same thing, like, with the voice acting in this game, even though this game is going to make, like, shit tons of money, that they could easily, like, they could afford to keep, like, voice actors on retainer if they wanted to, and it wouldn't dent it.
And they're just choosing not to.
And so as a result, he docked the review score, and gave the game a 2 out of 5, despite mostly liking it. And so that led to Epic Games CEO Tim Sweeney, who doesn't have anything to do with this fucking game at all. He just, it's Tim Sweeney. And Tim Sweeney is a guy who doesn't open his mouth often, but when he does, it's usually to say something really stupid.
And this is no exception to
that. And well, this might be one of the stupidest things that he ever said. He criticized the review by saying that the review stance on AI is, quote, political, and says that political opinions should go into the op-eds. Now,
and just as a reminder, a review is an editorial opinion.
Yes. Yeah.
That's what, like, drives me crazy, is people are like, review should be objective. And I'm like, there's no such thing.
There's literally no such thing.
It is a complete oxymoron.
Patrick Klepek was arguing about this on Blue Sky with somebody, and a guy was saying, "Oh, like that's like this, the reviewer is being too subjective. Like, you can't dock the game scores because you don't like the fact that they used AI." And so Patrick Klepek came back to this goo, and I'm paraphrasing what he said, but he basically said, "Okay, so if a game is poorly optimized, how many star deduction is that worth?" And the guy wouldn't answer the question, and Klepek's point was like, well, congratulations, you fucking made my point for me. Like, you won't even engage with this, like, with this supposedly objective thing, because it is subjective. Like, and it's subjective. Like there's, like, you cannot remove when you're reviewing a game, you cannot remove, like, your experiences, your sense of, what is good or bad in the game industry. And does that mean that, like, okay, so, like, if a new Pokemon game was coming out and Dense Pixels was reviewing it, does that mean that, because we want to be as objective as possible, I should review this and not Carrie? Because I played a Pokemon game or two in my day, and obviously Carrie should review it, because Carrie will be able to give the review greater context because of the experience that she has with that series. And so, of course, it's going to be subjective, and she's going to review it differently than I would review it, because, again, we have very different expectations, we have very different, tolerances for certain things, and all sorts of stuff like that. So Tim Sweeney is mad, because I'm sure Tim Sweeney,
because someone had an opinion that he didn't agree with. Well,
someone had an opinion, and I'm sure that he would love to make sure that AI finds its way in some way, shape, or form into Fortnite. And so having a review out there of a very high profile game that uses AI, that is in the discourse is bad for what he eventually wants to do.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like
Yeah,
that.
no,
That's
I mean,
ultimately what this boils down to.
it is, and of course, so much of like the pro AI argument for this is, well, they signed a contract, they agreed to do this
Yeah,
as voice
because they
actors, and it's
had
just
to.
like
Because they
because they
fucking
had
had
to,
to. Right.
because they nailed the audition and were probably told after the fact, by the way, this is what you're actually going to be doing. You can
Right. And
either do this
if you
and get
don't
paid this
agree,
much,
then we'll
or
recast it.
yeah,
Yeah. I mean,
yeah,
I mean,
exactly.
yeah. No shit.
Like let's be fucking real here. Like, you know, it's fucking stupid. Like, it is already so difficult for even veteran voice actors to make a living. Like, most of these guys are not these are not household names in the same way that like Hollywood actors are. These are people who are making pretty much like a middle class income, you know, and they are having their opportunities taken away from them by generative AI bullshit like this. So, yeah, I genuinely hope that um you know that people consider that appropriately with regards to arc raiders and other things. And of course, the same studio released the finals, which also used AI voice generation and other AI assets, and was appropriately dragged for it when
Right.
that information came out. And it's clear that they just doubled down on that. And so it's like, it's all about, how many pennies can we possibly pinch with this? Like,
And look, if you are insistent on your studio using this technology because you genuinely believe that it is helpful and it makes the development experience and it makes the final product better, that is your prerogative as a game studio. But you don't get to do it in a vacuum. Like you don't get to be insulated from the feelings and the reaction that the general gaming public will have to your game when you decide to do something that is, I mean, right now considered very controversial.
yeah.
And because like I'm sure you'd like to have your cake and eat it too, but that just isn't the fucking world that we live in. So again, like if you want to use it, put on your big boy pants and say it with your fucking chest and deal with the fallout. And again, like because you do that, some people that might have been interested in your game won't play it. And you'll lose. Like that's the thing. Like no game. That's the thing that makes me laugh about this so much. There's no single game out there that's like, oh, like they're using Gen AI. I've got to play this. I wasn't interested in this game before, but because they're using generative AI, like now it's on my radar and I can't wait to play it. But like you're only going to turn off segments of the community, and there are a lot of people who, for some folks, that is a hard and fast line. Like if they see that disclaimer at the bottom of the Steam page, or if they find out later that your game fucking has it, they're just like, it's a no-go for me, sorry. And some people, in this case, like have justified it by saying, well, the actors knew that this was going to be the case and they were told up front and the studio's disclosing it. And again, if that's where your line is, that's okay too. Like everyone has to kind of decide for themselves where they sit with this. But just because it's becoming more commonplace doesn't mean that we have to accept it as players, for sure.
And I refuse to.
Yeah.
So it's again, it's the idea that like there's so many people who are like, oh well, it's just gonna be everywhere, and you just are gonna have to live with it. And it's like, no, I don't, bitch. I got a million Super Nintendo and N64 and PS2 games that I can play instead. Like I am,
and in fact. In fact, the coolest person to be right now is the developer that says we don't use any generative AI in our games.
Yeah.
And to proudly proclaim that. You'll get a lot more eyeballs towards you that you might not have gotten before. Just because
there's a movement to start including like almost like a Nintendo seal of quality style kind of like sticker on your game art that says no generative AI was used in the making of this game.
Yeah.
And I am far more likely to take a chance on a game that comes out and said we didn't use it at all because we don't like it, like, than I am to spend that money or spend that time on a game where it might be in there. So
another game that apparently decided to just throw some Gen AI in there for fucking no reason at all. Call of Duty Black Ops 7 which came out last week and has pissed off a lot of its players. So again, Microsoft has been out front about this, and they put on the page for Steam that quote, uses generative AI tools to help develop some in-game assets, but it doesn't specify beyond that. But players of the game
can tell.
Yeah, players of the game have figured out where that Gen AI was used, and that is in the game's calling cards that are in the game.
Yeah, so calling cards, posters, and reward icons. It's pretty obvious. It's funny because for as much as ChatGPT and Grok and all of these fucking fuck-ass generative AI tools claim that they can do anything in any style, they do have kind of their own style that they have developed. So there's some like calling cards or reward icons, I guess, that are clearly done in the Ghibli informed style that a lot of people were using for like profile pictures earlier this year. By the way, if you did that, I unfriended and blocked you. Congratulations. If you're wondering why you don't see me on social media anymore, it's because you did that shit and I blocked you immediately without telling you I was going to do that. So eat shit. And then there's the other kind of more generic tune style that ChatGPT does, and again, there's like pretty much every single endgame and campaign calling card is very obviously generative AI. Some people have like cropped these out and run them through AI detection tools, and it's come back positive because it's obviously AI. And there's a lot of the other telltale signs of it, like weird smudges in the background and having too many fingers or mismatched fingers on monsters' hands and stuff like that. So,
and again, this is
for a game,
right? Like this is for a game that has endless.
This is for a blockbuster AAA title that they are charging a full 70 fucking United States dollars for.
Pretty sure it's 80.
And they're using. Is it 80? Let me
maybe.
Black Ops 7. It's 70.
Oh, okay.
It's 70.
Oh, well, good. Yeah, well, if they had gotten actual art for those, they would have had to charge 80. So really,
of course they would have had to charge an extra.
Yeah, we should be thanking them for saving us some money. Yeah, man. So pay an artist, or
pay an artist,
or commission something like.
Literally,
Jesus Christ.
It's so easy. It's so easy to pay an artist. It's enormously easy, and it's like it drives me crazy. I feel like every week I'm on here being like, if you use Gen AI, you're part of the problem. But it's true. It is absolutely true. And what's kind of funny though is that a lot of people have been able to return their copies or their digital copies of Black Ops 7 by citing the reason as the company not fully disclosing their use, their specific use.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, and by the way, this also I don't know if it has anything to do with this. It's probably a non-zero factor. This is the lowest rated Call of Duty game, or the lowest rated fan rated Call of Duty game on Metacritic currently. And I wouldn't be surprised if this was a big.
This absolutely has a lot to do with it.
So.
Like,
yep.
I cannot wait for this bubble to burst because it will. It will burst the same way that fucking NFTs burst a couple years ago. Like, it will go by the wayside because again, generative AI cannot generate revenue.
Yeah.
You can save, you can penny pinch here and there, but ultimately you will pay a bigger price in the long term in terms of having to subscribe to a ChatGPT premium service and all of the environmental impacts and all that other shit. So it's like, it will go by the wayside. Like,
well, and the fact that when this blows up, people will remember the companies that use this and the companies that didn't.
Yeah.
And it'll be like a scarlet letter on your.
It absolutely will be.
Yeah.
I mean, there's it might have been. I think it was it the Arc Raiders guy who
it was the president of the publisher, not anyone in the development who's like, oh, it's important to assume that all game studios are using.
Well, no.
Oh, okay.
I'm not talking about that. There was someone in gaming recently that basically was like, oh, like it's an extreme take to say that that you shouldn't, that ChatGPT is bad or something like that, or that, you shouldn't use ChatGPT at all. Like that's uh an extreme thing to say. And it's just like, that's actually the pretty moderate thing to say. Like, it's pretty moderate, I think, to say that like you should not use ChatGPT and your feet fucking stink if you do. The more extreme thing to say would be to say that I believe Sam Altman should be hunted for sport in public, a la the Running Man, for what he has done to art and creativity in such a short amount of time. Maybe that's extreme, but that's what I think. Um, so,
I,
I
I I
just
would I would accept penniless and living on the street for ever being sued into oblivion for copyright
no,
theft.
I believe
Yeah.
not only should he be sued into oblivion and then lose all of his money, but I do believe he should be hunted for sport, for fun and
Okay.
entertainment. So,
I'm less extreme than you.
yeah,
Is basically
yeah,
what you're saying. So
yes.
yeah. I mean,
Fuck
yeah.
AI and fuck you if you use it. I've been saying it every week for the last 3 months. Stop fucking using it. And again, if I see you using it, I'm just gonna block your ass. I'll block your ass. Like, if you post it in the Discord, I'm just gonna fucking kick you from the Discord. Like, full stop. I'm done. Get the fuck out of here.
Yeah. Please don't post AI art or images in the
I'm
Discord.
gonna update the rules to just be like,
Yeah.
if you post it, I'm gonna make fun of you and then block you. Like,
Yeah. Yep. Don't do that. Don't do that. So, um, I don't want to get too deep into this because it would be just idle speculation. But it's still kind of an important thing to note. So, Ubisoft was scheduled to do their Q2 earnings results last week, and then about 15 minutes before they were scheduled to deliver those results, they issued a statement that said that they are postponing that announcement, and also that trading of their shares has been halted. And they did not provide a reason as to why. Typically, when share trading gets stopped, it's usually because either a massive stake is about to be purchased or a full-blown acquisition is potentially happening of the company. So we haven't heard yet from Ubisoft as far as what's actually going on, even though it's been half a week since then. They have said that they understand that doing what they've done, the way they've done it, will lead to a lot of speculation in the media as to what's going on, and they'll have more to share when they can share it. But
this feels a little ominous.
it does feel a bit ominous. Now, the only question that I would have is, would this be potentially like Tencent just buying out the rest of the shares and taking the company private? Or might this be another buyer, say like a buyer that potentially lives in like a Gulf state, coming in to create a video game conglomerate of sorts? Who could say? We'll see what happens. Let's do the other bad news story first, and then we'll get to the good news part. So,
right.
So City Skylines. So in the city management space, obviously SimCity was the like unrivaled king for a very long time, and then thanks to the speaking of Gulf states, thanks to the work of EA with 2013's SimCity reboot, fumbled the bag so badly that when Paradox Games with developer Colossal Order published City Skylines in 2015, literally the entire SimCity community moved to City Skylines, and City Skylines became like the de facto city game. City Skylines is great. I like City Skylines 1 a lot, but because history is incapable of not repeating itself, they released City Skylines 2 a couple years ago, and that game's been a fucking train wreck since that game came out. A lot of bugs, missing promised features, to the point where the first DLC for the game is releasing in a couple of weeks here, 2 years after the game came out. Now, this is a game published by Paradox Interactive, the publisher that puts out more DLC for their games than literally any other publisher on the fucking planet. So for it to take a full 2 years to get a full-blown expansion pack out for City Skylines 2 is unheard of. And apparently things were so dissatisfying on both sides of that equation that Paradox Interactive and developer Colossal Order have decided to part ways. And Paradox but because Paradox owns City Skylines, they're handing development to another studio, which is called Ice Flake Studios, which is a studio that is wholly owned by Paradox Interactive. I can't imagine this is going to bode well for fans of the City Skylines series.
I'm going to go with probably not.
Yeah.
Hope springs eternal, of course, but if you're a fan of this style of game, I'm sorry, because this doesn't seem like especially good.
So there's a YouTuber who plays these type of games that I follow and like a lot, called Real City Planner, who reacted to this news today, and he went looking for situations where a game like currently being developed and supported switched developers like in the middle of its lifespan, and things went well. And he could not find an example of that ever happening.
No, it hasn't happened.
Yeah.
It hasn't ever happened, unsurprisingly.
Yeah, so
yeah.
So maybe it never works for anybody, but maybe it will for us, is probably what Paradox Interactive is thinking. But
first time for everything.
We will see. In the meantime, I will just continue playing City Skylines 1, a game with more content in it than I could ever hope to get through myself if I really wanted to. So still a perfectly good game. And we'll see what happens from afar with Cities 2, and see what happens with that. Finally, some good news. Nintendo, not Nintendo, but whoever's making the movie, has released the first on-set images from the Legend of Zelda live-action movie that is currently being filmed in New Zealand. And it looks good.
Yeah, it certainly doesn't look bad.
Yeah,
a lot of people are nitpicking the
get the fuck out of here.
Basically, this is a first look. A couple days ago, there was essentially someone took some phone footage behind the scenes and leaked that, I think, anonymously. So the phone footage saw the actress who is playing Zelda, Bo Bragason, and the woman who will be Impa, Deechin Lackman, I believe is how you pronounce her name. She is an Australian actress. Just Zelda and Impa and a couple of horses, and you couldn't hear what they were saying because it was taken from far away. But, I thought they both looked good. We don't know anything about the plot, but essentially on the official Nintendo accounts today, Miyamoto went, "This is Miyamoto." Filming is underway. I'm reading directly the post. "This is Miyamoto. Filming is underway for the live-action film of The Legend of Zelda in a lush, natural setting with Bo Bragason-san, who will..." He always puts san on the end of their names, which is good. "Bo Bragason-san, who will play Zelda, and Benjamin Evan Ainsworth-san, who will play Link. Filming is on track for the film's release on May 7th, 2027. It will take a while until the release, so we would be grateful if you would wait patiently and look forward to it." Typical Miyamoto post, right? But essentially, the official things released where you got a close-up of Link, a close-up of Zelda, and a wider shot of the both of them in just kind of a plains.
In Hyrule Field,
meadow.
one could even say.
Field.
Yeah.
So Link is in the classic green tunic, no hat. Zelda is wearing a blue outfit, but is clearly equipped with a bow and arrow. And there's a lot that you can infer from that, but essentially all we know right now is Bo Bragason is Zelda, Benjamin Evan Ainsworth is Link, and Deacon Leichman is Impa. All of these actors have been in things of significance, but have never none of them are A-list stars, which I think is kind of nice to not have like fucking Brad Pitt as Link, right? Like I don't want a recognizable face as Link. I want just like a guy. And so Benjamin Evan Ainsworth has most notably been in The Haunting of Bly Manor on Netflix. He also was the voice of Pinocchio in the live action adaptation of Pinocchio from a few years ago. And then he's also been in like a couple of like Australian or I guess British soap operas when he was younger. He's only 17, mind you. Like he's the perfect age to be Link, late teens. And then Bo Bragason is like 21, I think. And she has been in incidentally, this is not her first video game related role, as she did motion capture for the Final Fantasy 15 movie. But she's been on like a Disney Plus series called Renegade Nell. She's been in the movie The Radleys, like again, British mostly kind of stuff. And then Deacon Likeman is, older, and so she's been in she was in Jurassic World Dominion, Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes, Aquamarine, roles on NCIS, Hawaii Five-0, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., Altered Carbon. She's in Severance, so that's obviously big for a lot of people. I haven't seen it yet. But again, like not super like A-list stars, and I kind of like that for a live action adaptation of something that so many people our age have been playing our whole lives and have kind of ascribed certain looks and voices and appearances to. So I'm into it.
Link better not fucking talk in this entire movie, or I'm gonna throw the popcorn at the screen and demand my money back.
Yeah. One line at the very end of "Excuse me, princess."
No. He like the only thing he's allowed to do is do the combat grunts.
The grunts. Yeah.
Yeah. That's it.
So yeah.
But I mean, like I said, the characters look true to what you would expect them to look. It seems like they're going with the Tears of the Kingdom, Breath of the Wild ish, like interpretation, at least visually.
General vibe, yeah. But I mean, it's really hard to ascribe one game to it because it's like you've got Link in the green tunic, but he doesn't have a hat on. You've got Zelda in a blue tunic, a la Breath of the Wild. But she looks very kind of rugged, and then like Impa is there, and Impa's look is, I think, kind of informed more by Ocarina of Time. But again, it's just I'm fine with just a general adaptation of the overarching lore of these characters in the same way that I like the first Sonic film a lot because the first Sonic film was not trying to adapt any of the games, but really it's more of an adaptation of the character.
But here's the thing, like because of the way the Legend of Zelda timeline is, you can do an original story that just sticks to the themes and it still fits in however you want it to. You know what I mean? Like you don't have to ape any of the games because literally the whole thing is, hey, like throughout time, there's going to be a Link, there's going to be a Zelda, there's going to be all these other characters. Ganon's going to come back. It's going to be real bad. Yeah.
In the same way that the first Mario film was not trying to adapt any of the games, but rather just adapt just like the general idea of the Super Mario Brothers. And of course, just to sort of piggyback on this general topic of Nintendo film news, the Mario Galaxy movie trailer came out this week as well.
I'm sure you were excited.
I'm excited. I'm looking forward to it. They got fucking Brie Larson.
That's what I'm saying. Like that's what I mean. Yeah.
Perfect casting. She once threw out her boyfriend at the time because he said she was taking playing Mario Galaxy too seriously, and now she's voicing Rosalina. Perfect. Ideal.
I felt your like gay excitement like from all the way across the coast.
I love Brie Larson. I'm stoked. I think it's a cool opportunity. Plus, it's like here's someone who has actually played these games. Unlike Chris Pratt. But no, the Mario Galaxy movie is interesting because it's clearly kind of taking some from Mario Galaxy, but also some from Mario Sunshine, and also clearly an area from Mario Odyssey. So definitely like smashing bits and pieces from the different games together, but like I'm gonna go see it. I have no doubt in my mind that it's going to be at least a very fun time. I'm not expecting masterpiece cinema from the fucking studio that gave us the Minions, but I am looking forward to having a fun time at the
Oh,
movies with the Mario.
movies that I've seen way too many of because my
I'm
son
sorry.
loves them to death. So
Oh man, we took Ian's kids, I think, to see Despicable Me 4? Is
mhm,
that the most recent one?
I think so.
Yeah, that's the only one I've seen, and I was pretty mentally checked out the whole time.
Yeah.
I'll be honest, I don't remember anything about that movie. I just know that I've seen it. My brain just flushed that out of existence immediately. But no, look, Mario movie's gonna be fun, and hopefully the Zelda live action will be good too. I'm cautiously optimistic about it.
Well, hopefully, when you guys have time, you dip into the Dense Pixels post office so that you can ask us questions. You have to be a member of our Discord, though, to do that. So, densepixels.com/fans is where you go for that. Just like Cam did. So, IGN and Nintendo Life did a collab where they ranked the top 100 best Nintendo games of all time. Cam has listed out the 20 to 1 games
Hmm.
for us and asked for our reaction to this. Now, I feel like their definition of Nintendo game, like, so we're just talking about games that existed on a Nintendo console, it looks like from this
I'm
list. Like,
yeah.
no,
Let me
it
let me
doesn't.
just double check
Yeah,
this. So
no distinction between third party and first party, though first party dominates this list as you would probably expect it to.
okay, so here's the thing. What qualifies to make the list? The vast majority were either developed or published by Nintendo itself. There's room for some others, those games that are synonymous with
Okay,
Nintendo consoles or at least held a period of timed exclusivity. For example, Chinatown Wars is at 99 despite being developed by Rockstars and arriving
because it
later
was
on the
on DS
PSP,
exclusively
but
for a while.
because it was exclusively on the DS for 9 months and was designed with the DS's stylus and second screen in mind, it was able to make the list. Makes sense.
Yep. Okay.
That's kind of what I figured they were going
So
for.
fair enough. So let's go 20 to 1. I'll list them
Mhm.
off for the audience, and then we can circle back and pick nits. 20 Resident Evil 4, 19 Final Fantasy 6, 18 Fire Emblem Awakening, 17 Animal Crossing New Horizons, 16 Legend of Zelda: The Wind Waker, 15 Pokemon Heart Gold Soul Silver, 14 Super Mario Galaxy 2, 13 Metroid Prime plus remastered, 12 Super Mario Bros. 3, 11 Super Smash Ultimate, 10 Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, 9 Link to the Past, 8 Super Metroid, 7 Chrono Trigger, 6 Ocarina of Time, 5 Tetris. I'm assuming that's NES Tetris, maybe Game Boy
Yeah.
Tetris. 4 Mario Odyssey, 3 Mario World, 2 Breath of the Wild, and number 1 Legends of Zelda: Tears of the Kingdom. I don't like that both of those games are the 1 and 2 spots on the list. I feel like that's a cop out of sorts.
Uh,
I understand why they did it, but I don't like it.
okay, all
Yeah.
right. So like I don't feel super strongly about the list.
Um.
Look,
co-
I
so
can understand. I can understand why those are top one too. I do not think Animal Crossing New Horizons should be top 20. I think if you're going to put an Animal Crossing game there, it should be New Leaf, which was objectively a better game, I think.
mhm.
Um,
I
New
think that
Horizons, I
I
think, fell off really quickly, and people just liked it because it came out at the start of the pandemic.
I think that as much as I love NES Tetris, Tetris is too high, way too high. Maybe I mean it might deserve top 20, but certainly not number 5. Um, Mario Odyssey deserves to be above Mario World. I'm sorry, like that's I mean I love
Yes,
Mario World as much as the next guy, but
yeah,
it is what it is.
no,
Ocarina,
completely agree.
I will always think is perpetually overrated. That's just
It's
me.
one of these
I know
things
that's
of
my
like
problem.
Ocarina of Time is like the Beatles of video games in
Yeah.
so much that like I think it's horrifically overrated. I understand why people like it. There's a lot of things that I like about it, but I think it's one of these things where it gets rated high because of its influence and not
Hmm.
because of the quality of the game that it actually is.
Yeah. Happy to see Link to the Past in the top 10. Same with Super Metroid. Um, uh, I feel like Pokemon maybe should be higher.
I
Like
think
Heart Gold, Soul
Pokemon Heart
Silver.
Gold, Soul Silver should be significantly higher.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, that to me is like a top 5.
I don't know if I'd put it top 5, but I think it deserves to be in the top 10 at
I would.
least.
It's interesting to see what was on the cusp of this top 20.
Give me 21 through 30. I'm curious.
21, Legend of Zelda: Link Between Worlds.
Okay.
22, Bonanza. 23, Galaxy 1.
Okay.
24, Majora's Mask.
Okay.
25, Mario 64.
That should be the top 20. I'm sorry.
If Ocarina is in the top 20 because of its influence, Mario
Right.
64 needs to be top 20 for the same reason. 26, Castlevania: Aria of Sorrow.
That's interesting.
I was gonna say that's a really interesting, because ultimately that was something where they did it. It's like Aria of Sorrow is essentially them just trying to make Symphony of the Night portable.
Yeah. And really good
so,
also.
So that's interesting.
That's cool that that's
27,
up there.
Pokemon Red, Blue, Yellow.
Okay.
28, Xenoblade Chronicles.
Okay.
29, Paper Mario: The Thousand-Year Door.
No. Speaking of games that have way too much love for them.
30, Pikmin 4.
Okay.
I mean, again, 31, Mega Man 2. 32, Earthbound.
Wait. Hi. Okay. Pause. So Mega Man 2 made the list 31?
Yeah.
31.
Yeah.
Perhaps in the top 5 of NES games of all time.
Yeah.
I don't care for that.
I was surprised to see Earthbound lower than 30.
I'm not. That is one that has not been played by a wide contingent of people, I feel. So
GoldenEye's at 36.
Too high. I mean, I
get Kirby and the Forgotten Land at 39 is way too fucking high for that game. I'm sorry.
People that played it really liked it.
That's fine, but yeah. I don't think there's a single fucking Kirby game that needs to be higher than 40. Mario RPG's at 38. Look, the only Golden Sun that made the list was The Lost Age, and that's at 88. And I think that's a fucking travesty.
No wonder you can't get a goddamn sequel.
Yeah, you're gonna put fucking Luigi's Mansion 3 at 49, but Golden Sun: The Lost Age at 88. Suck my dick.
Only one of those games has Gooigi, and it's not Golden Sun. So.
The power of Luigi.
That's right, the old power of Luigi. So I guess if I'm looking back at the top 20, the games that I would remove from the top 20, me myself personally, I'm fine with having Animal Crossing there. Fine with Fire Emblem Awakening being in there.
You're gonna put Wave Race at 74, but Golden Sun, suck my.
That is fucked up. That's fucked up.
The idea that Donkey Kong Country 2 is all the way down at 78 when that's probably one of the single best
fucking travesty.
One of the potentially one of the best top 3.
Where is Yoshi's Island on this list?
Ooh.
Is my question. While I contemplate
62.
That's too low. That's way too low.
I would agree. And I don't fucking like Yoshi. Yoshi needs to be put in jail for tax evasion, but also like I don't like that game.
I mean, I would take Prime out, but again, I'm in the minority with Prime. I would probably take Wind Waker out. There's plenty of Zelda representation on this list. I think Wind Waker can be lower than top 20.
Yeah.
You're
gonna put Ring Fit Adventure is higher than Golden Sun.
That's very funny.
Yeah, no, that's stupid.
Here's what this list teaches me. There's been a lot of really fucking good games on Nintendo systems in the last 4 years.
That's true. There's a WWF No Mercy made the list at 93.
Damn right it did. Fuck yeah, that's awesome. This list keeps getting better all the time. I like it. So yeah, a lot of good games turns out on Nintendo consoles. Who knew?
Turns out, you're around long enough, and you're kind of the main name in the game for better part of a couple decades. You end up with a lot of good.
Here's how you can sate me. You can combine Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom into one entry, and I'll be fine that way. Because
But they're not the same game.
I know.
There's too much difference between them.
I know. Yeah, Tetris. I don't know, man. Like again, love Tetris. It like when I look at this list, it's like the one one of these things is not like the other. Yeah.
My big gripe right now, nothing to do with Golden Sun, but still something to do with an RPG. Final Fantasy VI made the list within the top 20. Final Fantasy IV not on the list at all.
I'm okay.
Which is insane to me because 4 is a better game than 6.
That's not true, but I know you feel. I know you.
It's not true. It's not true. But that 6 is the only Final Fantasy game on the list at all. Top 100 is insane to me. When you've got, if you're putting like the original Legend of Zelda on that list, but not the original Final Fantasy, that feels insane.
No. The original Legend of Zelda holds up so much better than the original Final Fantasy does.
You're right, but the idea that like you're telling me so like Final Fantasy 4 or Final Fantasy 5, like there are other games that made the list in spite of the fact that they were Nintendo exclusive.
5 was never going to make this list because it didn't release here until the Pixel remaster.
Way later, but right. I mean, Live Alive is on the list, and that didn't release here until like a year and a half ago.
No.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
All right, I'm back to having some problems with this list again. So.
Throw the whole fucking list now. No. Where was Live Alive? Live Alive was at 70.
That's okay. Okay.
So like Live Alive is on there, but Terranigma isn't on there, and like Bahamut Lagoon isn't on there, but Live Alive is on there, but not Final Fantasy IV. Fuck out of here. Throw the whole list out. Bullshit.
It's not the worst list I've ever seen.
It's not good though. Most of these lists are never good.
Well, it's because we didn't make them. If we made them, it would be fucking.
If we made a list, it would be correct and good.
Yes, that's the way that goes. Beach Boy says so. With the Mario Galaxy trailer releasing the other day, got me thinking. We have a Street Fighter movie coming the next year or so. The MCU is a well-established movieverse with them doing multiverse. Could we get a Marvel versus Street Fighter movie? If so, who would you like to see in it from both franchises? We can barely get a Marvel. Yeah, I'm about to say we can barely get a Marvel versus Capcom video game at this point anymore.
Yeah. But if we're going back to like OG Marvel superheroes versus Street Fighter, I mean, most of the characters from the lineup are in the MCU. You got Spider-Man. You got the Hulk. You gotta have Cyclops.
You gotta have the
Captain
best ones. You gotta have Cap. You gotta have Iron Man. You gotta have Wolverine. You gotta have Spider-Man.
They got U.S. Agent in that lineup for whatever fucking reason.
No, you don't need to.
Why did they put U.S. Agent in that video game? You don't need to have him, but he's in the MCU and he was in the game.
Yeah.
Street Fighter, Akuma, Chun-Li, Dan Hibiki, Dhalsim, Ken Masters, and Bison.
Ken,
Ryu, Zangief.
Yeah.
Sakura, why not?
Yeah. She can sit this one out. I don't think that works against Marvel superheroes.
Look.
Dan's allowed to be there because he's funny. So
the only 2 women on the Street Fighter lineup were Chun-Li and Sakura, so you better have both of them there.
You can trade out Sakura and put in Cammy instead.
Yeah.
Sakura can still be in it, but she'll be like Dan. She'll be like with Dan Hibiki, like she'll be cheering him on from the sidelines as Dan gets his fucking face caved in by a repulsor beam from Iron Man. So, you take the characters that are from MVC2 that are the most notable, and that's the ones you put in there essentially, and you make it work. Finally, Mad Coco G says, since Double Dragon Revive has come out and nobody's talking about it like other games in the genre, is that it for this franchise? I bought it. It is okay, but nowhere near Neon and Gaiden, but it is better than 4 and the fighting game based on the cartoon and the live-action movie. Here's the thing. Double Dragon died when that terrible fucking live-action movie came out. Back in the day. That was the death of Double Dragon. The unfortunate thing about Double Dragon is that of all of the arcade beat 'em ups from that era that eventually got ported to console, it is definitely the one that held up the worst. That didn't have that didn't have really good games even in that era, because like the original Double Dragon on NES was pretty good, and then it was kind of downhill from there. I know, as a owner formerly of Double Dragon 3 The Sacred Stones, which is a very bad video game. And
originally called the Rosetta Stone, right?
Yeah. And then they had the unfortunate thing, because Trade West owned both properties. They're like, we got to put some Double Dragon in our Battletoads, and nobody really wanted that. And so Double Dragon kind of was the forgotten franchise, kind of paled in comparison to your Streets of Rage, your Final Fights, for example, and kind of fell off.
Always fucking Double Dragon though.
But again, just one. Like that was the only one that was worth a damn. And then the other problem that Double Dragons had is that the modern interpretations. Like, I remember there was a lot of excitement for Double Dragon Neon, and I don't remember that game being very good. And same thing for Gaiden, and then I don't remember that game being very good. And apparently this new one, Revive, is also not very good.
Not very good. It's got like a 5 out of 10 on most reviews.
Yeah, so just play Streets of Rage 4 like an adult, and and enjoy that. And Billy and Jimmy Lee are forever absconded to the dustbin of history, unfortunately. I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but
and it's one of these things. So Arc System Works got the rights to Double Dragon because it was originally at Technos, and then it was purchased by Million, and Million had it for 10 years, and now Arc System has had it for 10 years, and they haven't really done a whole lot with it. They developed and published Double Dragon 4 in 2017, and then Double Dragon Gaiden, and now Double Dragon Revive, and apparently Double Dragon Dodgeball.
Okay.
But the thing about Revive is that I don't love the art direction of this game.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I love a beat 'em up.
That's been that's been a problem with the other like modern Double Dragon games as well. Is that they can't settle on an art direction.
I think the thing about like Streets of Rage is that like it has that like very stylized 90s informed kind of look to it that really resonates with fans of that genre, and Double Dragon is almost going like too photorealistic with it, and I just don't think it translates to that style of game. It doesn't make me want to play it. Like, if I'm gonna play a beat 'em up like a Streets of Rage or Turtles or fucking what am I fucking blanking on?
Like River City Girls.
River City Ransom. River City Ransom is my favorite NES game. No cap. Like, I love River City Ransom.
And again, like if you're gonna like revive these franchises, like when they made River City Girls, like, oh, perfect.
Mm-hmm.
Like you're taking the themes, but you're not trying to remake this old game and tap into nostalgia. You're just like, hey, here's this new game based on this thing that you loved.
It's related to the lore of the original game loosely.
But you're not handcuffed to kind of sticking to certain things. So
no, but like I even played the what was it? The most recent River City 3DS game, which was called Tokyo Rumble. And I thought that was good. I don't think anybody but me played it, but I really enjoyed it.
Well, somebody messed up because they kept putting out new games in that franchise. So.
Kunio-kun is eternal. If he's not punching someone in the face, he's off playing dodgeball somewhere. So,
but yeah, I think that's what it. At the end of the day, that's really what it is. That Double Dragon was like, the fourth most popular beat 'em up, like that was out there, and just so someone's got to get left behind, and it was that. And despite attempts to revive it, I'm a man. I'm 40. Like, I remember Double Dragon. The kids today do not. So
no. That's the thing. There's not really nearly as much nostalgia for Double Dragon. So.
So that is it for the questions. Thank you all for getting those in. like I said, we knew we had a lot of news, so kind of thankful to have a smaller question docket. Again, yeah, don't forget to follow us wherever you find podcasts or on YouTube. Enjoy your American Turkey Day, American Thanksgiving celebrators. We'll see you on the flip side of that in December. But until next time, thank you all very much for watching and listening. See ya.
See ya.
You're watching the Dense Pixels YouTube channel. Click the subscribe button while you're here and make sure you check out our weekly podcast where we discuss the latest gaming news and our impressions on what games we've been playing.